Hello, everybody. This is the weekly static site editor meeting. This is the engineering focused version. Um, and today we'll be discussing a couple of things. We're into the thick of development in the milestone, so our issues are moving along. But we're also doing some process changes. So first point that I have is just to talk about the new workflow boards. So just to catch everybody up again, we've settled on trying this parent-child issue workflow where our parent issues are feature issues that we scope at a milestone level and you plan to deliver in a milestone. And then implementation issues are created by the engineers as we break down those feature issues into smaller iterations. So they work through they go through their own, the implementation of feature issues goes through the workflow progress. So I'm quickly going to share my screen just so that we can all look at the same thing. And I will open these two boards. Oops. And so here we can see the feature issue board. So essentially, this is issues that are grouped that have the deliverable label on, which is basically what we use to indicate what is currently planned for the next milestone. So we can see there's a couple that have already kind of like in review, in development. I think there's a few of them that have actually closed as well. If we go further and we add a milestone in here, 15.1, we can scope it out even more further. But in general, what we'll rely on is just these two labels. There's a couple in planning breakdown, mostly R&D type ones. I've spoken to Jacques about this one. He'll be getting into that this week. I know Derek will be focusing on this one as well. So I'm not too worried that there's planning breakdown. I know that they're going to be worked on soon. Just a reminder that when you feel they're ready to be worked on, to move them to the ready for dev column, even if you're not going to start working on them yet, just so that we know that all kind of like thinking and stuff around it has been action. So yeah, this is kind of like at the feature issue level. That this is the one that we'll mostly track to see if our progress against the milestone planning is on track. And so far, from what I've seen, I can't see that we will have too many issues for now. The next one that we have is this one. Not this one. Let me just get my many out of the way. Here we go. So this is basically the inverse. So it's where it has the label, but it's not marked for deliverable. And it's actually missing one here now, which I don't know why it's not picked it up, but there's supposed to be a milestone. Oh, why can't this seem to have disappeared? Because I see milestone title was here. That's interesting. Let me just remove it from here quickly and see if that sorts it out. Might be a bug in the UI. So if we go label equal not delivered label and milestone equals started. That should give us, this essentially is the scope of all implementation issues that are currently in progress. So this should reflect more accurately the themes that you're actively working on at a more granular level. So we can see, for instance, with cities GraphQL implementation is a verification. Our upskilling on GraphQL issues there, static site editor configuration file, and so on. So this is the two kind of like workflow boards that we have. in terms of what I'll be watching mostly from my point of view, is this one, just to track how we're doing on a milestone planning point of view. And it's also the level that we'll be doing any reporting on in our group calls are we running into any issues that we need to share and discuss with the team. So I'll stop sharing now and we can move on to the next point, which is, are there any deliverable issues that any team member wants to bring up for discussion today? Anything where you might want to update the team or ask the team for input on any of your issues? Right, well, that was sufficiently long, awkward, silent wait. Moving along, I wanted to ask everybody, how comfortable are we with using the acronym SSE for referring to static site editor? There's a lot of places where we use it in kind of like for instance the workflow board names and stuff. And when you write static site editor out, like it takes up a lot of space in things. And first of all, I want to check, is everybody comfortable internally referring to SSE as static site editor? And then also wondering, like in line with our communication guidelines, we're actually discouraged from using acronyms unless it's been mentioned first full on a page, whether there's cases where we shouldn't be using it, and also if there's some other considerations we should be giving. So for instance, when we're writing it about in product release notes, I believe we should be writing it out in full. When we're talking about it in blog posts, we should be writing in full. However, I feel like, for instance, on our team page, it's okay to refer to SSE, especially if we've written it out in full at the top of once at least. And when internally referring to it in our Slack communications, I believe it should be fine. Workflow boards, which is mainly used by our team anyway, should be fine as well. So, can I get a quick thumbs up, thumbs down on that? But maybe before that, Eric, you had a point you wanted to call out there?
I just, when I first joined, I was confused when I read it and Slack and stuff as SRE, which is like the infrastructure sort of team on GitLab.com. But now I like the difference is more clear to me because I know the nuance. But I'm familiar with it now, so it's fine with me.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point you make. Like there are already things like SRE, and how might other people interpret SSE now? Are they going to try and think that this is a site stability engineer acronym, or are they actually going to kind of like make the connection with static site editor? Chad?
I think it would be okay to use internally, like you said, but we should ensure that we define it on all of the main public facing pages because right now I just searched the handbook for it and nothing came up. So just to make sure that on all of our pages, if we define it and people search for it in the handbook, they'll find it.
Okay, so let's make this kind of like statement and let's see how we feel about it. Wherever you write in a public context, make sure to the first time write static site out fully, and in brackets, kind of like put SSE down. So for instance, static site editor, and then in brackets SSE, and then thereafter you can refer to it as SSE. So that I think would be acceptable. And wherever we're writing about it in a formal context, like a blog post or product release post, we'll always write it in full. So I think that's a good one to use. And then internally, in terms of our Slack channels, specifically the static site editor Slack channels, we can definitely refer to SSE. I think that's fine. Yeah.
So publicly means every issue at MR as well, the first time it's used?
Yeah, because just thinking of the context that Eric mentioned here, there are so many acronyms out there, and to think that if you have to make somebody wonder about what SSE is, like, then we failed our communication. So I think publicly is any kind of like epic issue, it's MR, etc. And formally always written out fully. So those are like blog posts, product, release notes, etc. Okay. Anybody else have anything engineering related to bring up this week? All right. I've had one-on-ones with most of you already today, so I know you're all on track and there's not too many kind of like challenges, so that's all good. And Eric, over to you for a guitar update. Or lack of guitar
don't
update.
have updates. Yep, I don't have any updates this week. I'm still catching up on everything that's happened since my vacation. But next week I'll probably have points that have been since then.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. Right, Eric Schurter is not here today. He's got a conflicting meeting on product, but if you're around, be sure to join up for the product design focus call later today, or catch up on the recording later in the week. With that, I bid you all a good day further, and chat to you soon.